Welcome to Strategize with Jarrett Lewis. I am overexcited today. We have a wonderful show prepared for you. We're going to give you some delightful information as we talk about partnering with police. Partnering with police. We have a wonderful veteran detective who has served over 15 years with the New York Police Department. He started off as a uniform officer, and then it got assigned to the Anti-Crime Unit. Currently, he's serving as a detective in the detective squad. It is a wonderful joy that we're going to have Detective William Smiley with us today. We're going to talk about important topics of police reform. We're going to deal with neighborhood policing. I think as a clergyman, it is so important that I continue to make sure we strengthen our relationships and be a critical link with the church and the community. And then finally, we're going to discuss a topic that is so important to everyone. What do you do when you are stopped by a police officer? What do you do when you are stopped by a police officer? Get ready for a great show. Do me a favor, share this with somebody, Facebook, YouTube, and other platforms, jarrettlewis.com. Get ready for a great show. Stay tuned. We are overjoyed today to have our great guest today. He's a wonderful individual who I've known since my childhood, who is serving with great expertise and great wisdom. And he is actually currently serving as a detective for the New York Police Department. Given the climatic time and the turbulence of the day, I thought it was so essential that we highlight and spotlight this opportunity to discuss with our guest today, Detective William Smiley. Let's welcome Detective William Smiley.
How are
Welcome.
you? I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be here.
We're so glad you're here. Let's get right to it. As a servant of the community and as a civil servant, I believe the trust factor is so important, especially in the faith community. We serve as a critical link between the police and the citizens, and you actually serve and protect. And I believe as a pastor, it's important that I help build relationships that make the community safer and also reinforce the connection when it becomes disconnected. So I want to hear from you, Detective Smiley. What are your thoughts around neighboring policing or
Well, I
neighborhood
think
policing?
that's yeah, neighborhood policing. That's important. I feel like that's the focal point of where the NYPD is going, and that's where I think policing should really stem from. We are there to protect and to serve. So our the communities that we're protecting and serving, have has to be our number one objective. That's where we need to go. So neighborhood policing is very important. It just so happens that over the years, the community and the police department, there has been a distrust over the years, to where our community has not been favor to the police department. Um, so I know that the department that I serve in, we've been doing a lot of things to where we're having, what community meetings. We have what's called NCO programs, when it's neighborhood coordinating officers, and these are people that are always in the community. They're talking to store owners, religious leaders, community leaders, and just the public regularly, and they're trying to serve this. What do we need? Hello, how you doing? There was a time where police officers, you knew the police officer in your community. You knew, hey, that's Officer John, and Officer John knew the people in their community. Over the years, it's switched to where you have people that are policing the communities are not really, they're not engaging in the community. So, here, I'll show you an example. You have someone from, I work in Brooklyn, okay, but say I live in Staten Island. And now, certain parts of Brooklyn, certain communities, there's uh there's certain there's certain ways that you interact with certain people within the community. And if people, if officers, they don't know that, they don't know how to, you know, talk to someone or even engage in a conversation. Like, how can we move forward? You know, they would be like, say if I worked in wine dance, and I'm like, hey, that's Pastor Jared Lewis. Hey, Pastor, how are you? And you'd be like, hey, Officer Smiley, how's everything? And I'm saying, how's the family? And we have to get back to that.
Wonderful. That's wonderful. We have so much more in store for you. I want everybody to stay tuned. We're going to come back and talk about what to do when a police officer stops you. We're going to talk about police reform, and also the anti-crime unit being displaced. And we're going to deal with that area. So stay tuned. We have so much in store for you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jared Lewis, and I'm inviting you to connect with me. Connect with me on Instagram, on Facebook also, at jaredlewis.com. Check out the media tab on jaredlewis.com and view our videos on demand. God, they will bless you. And also, don't forget our YouTube channel also. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. I know you will be blessed. Blessings, everybody. Jared Lewis Ministries. Pray God's richest blessings upon you. And remember to strategize with the power of God. Today I'll be representing the Way of Prayer Church. We're located at 113 Mount Avenue in Wyandanch, New York. Today is a wonderful day of festivities, a parade, food, fun, and fellowship at Wyandanch Day. Wyandanch Day Parade, leaving from the Martin Luther King Clinic all the way down to Wyandanch Park. We're excited. And we know that you'll be blessed by the food that has been prepared by the saints at our church. Come on and stop by and get your plate. Hello, everybody. We're here at Wyandanch National Night Out. We're having a blessed day, and to combine this job, here's my wife.
I want you to give a good warm welcome to New York State Senator John Brooks. Come on, clap your hands.
Fabulous Wyandanch National Night Out.
Detective Smiley, you've been giving us some wonderful information, and I think the next question that was submitted, I think is so appropriate. And Detective Smiley, do you mind sharing with us um, an answer to this question? According to the Public Religion Research Institute, white Protestants, 62% say that police officers treat blacks the same as whites, and the criminal justice system treats people of color and whites equally. As a minister of the gospel, I find out many people don't believe that statistic is true. As a clergyman, I know that I address prejudice, systematic racism, and equality. And what I've displayed is that I must share the gospel of Jesus, but I'm called to treat everyone equal. And there are times that we need more training, whether it be psychological or emotional training as a result of trauma, especially when you're a police officer dealing with some intense environments and race relations. Do you believe that police reform is important?
Absolutely, absolutely. Police reform, police reform is definitely important nowadays because, for one, you have people. It goes back to police. They need to engage and have a conversation. You know, it's no more. Police are called to the scene, and now it turns into, all right, everybody get on the wall, turn around. No, no, we can't do that. People don't want to be treated like that. So we got to have a conversation, and I feel like that's a major thing with the department, that law enforcement, we're not talking to our community, and to and to people that we're stopping, just because. So I feel like reform has to come from the top and down, and all the way down. So it just so happens that we have a lot going on, just within the city of New York. But um, I will say that I don't I don't believe that we're going to get the reform that's needed unless we have the conversation. So what needs to happen? I don't know, Pastor Jared. I don't know what needs to happen, but I know that we need reform immediately. What is training from police officers in the academy, to just doing a thorough background investigation on officers getting onto to the police department. Reform is definitely needed from the courts to the legal system to actually to law enforcement itself. Reform is definitely important.
I think the pulse and the question and the thoughts that are on many people's minds revolve around this question. And I must say, as a clergyman, I am eager to hear your response and your perspective. You know,
Mm,
um, at the height of the stop and frisk uh,
mm,
time in 2011, under Bloomberg's administration, Mayor Bloomberg's administration, over 685,000 people were stopped. And nearly 9 out of 10 that were stopped and frisked in New York were completely innocent. So the question that revolves to me as a leader and how I influence my audience, our congregation, our community is, what are the three most important things we should do when we are stopped by a police officer? If you would like to expound, you can go the rest of the show on this part. I think this is the question that many people
oh
have, because
man.
many people want to learn, and I'm so glad you can help us. What are the top three things?
Well, what I would say, and I tell everybody that I know this. If we can, and this is, some people may disagree with me, but if we can just comply, what I mean comply is that a lot of times it becomes an ego thing with the officer and the individual. So if we can just, because you want to leave the situation alive, You want to leave the situation alive. So if we can just comply and just um, I would suggest hear what the officer's saying. Try to be as polite as possible, just to get through the actual situation. Whether it's illegal or not, that can always be fought after. But you want to be able to walk away from the situation. I suggest that if it can be documented, you can always get an officer's shield number, ask for the name, you know, and just try to be as pleasant as possible, just to walk away from the situation, and you'll be able to tell a story. Because a lot of times, you know, you may get stopped and it turns into something completely different than what the situation arose from, just because of the resistance.
Very wise. Thank you for sharing that important answer. We respect your professionalism, and I know that was beneficial for many. We've heard of the disbanding of the anti-crime units, and currently we see crime is increasing. What should I know, and what should community leaders and my colleagues, and even the residents and citizens of our community know about the situations when they're disbanding the anti-crime units? Tell us about that.
Well, I feel like the anti-crime unit, you know, I believe was a very important unit within the police department, because what it did is, it put, plainclothes officers that normally no one would know they were police officers, and and they would they would go after, or possibly, you know, try to prevent any crime that's either going to take place. So now that a lot of criminals, or people that are going to commit crime, knowing that anti-crime is not there, now you see a lot more people, carrying guns, and crime has risen. But also, a lot of times the anti-crime officers, they may just be stopping people just because, so it's a swinging pendulum. So it, it's really tough. I always thought the anti-crime, was very helpful in preventing crime. But there are instances where you may have had officers that may not have probable cause to to either arrest or stop. I don't know, but there may have been a uh, there needed to be some kind of understanding, to why people are being stopped, and why this and why that. But I was always for the anti-crime.
Sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. Um, our last and final question comes from the perspective of our history, certainly within the Afro American community, and in light of Representative John Lewis transitioning into heaven and serving in the civil rights movement. And we have great leaders such as Dr. King, who taught us not only to protest, but also to legislate and to have legislation in place to implement laws. Certainly, we've seen in early June the New York Assembly and Governor Cuomo signed and passed the Eric Gardner Anti-Chokehold Act. That act was passed in the House and the New York State Senate legislator, and the governor, signed off on this law. I am curious to hear from you. What changes have you seen, and how has this affected your professionalism and your fulfilling your role? How has this law changed or affected you?
Yeah. Well, in regards to chokehold, the NYPD has never. That's always been disbanded in NYPD for years. Even when I was in the academy, like they always said, no chokeholds. and even before then. So, chokeholds were never part of the NYPD. Where, but now there was, legislations and things that were passed to where you may have, it makes it hard for officers to actually effect an arrest when we have to like put hands on a person. So where I can be actually charged for a misdemeanor if I'm tussling with someone and someone, unintentionally, gets hurt. So, that's somewhat, a sour taste within my mouth because, sometimes in law enforcement, like, we don't have, an easy job. Sometimes people resist, sometimes, we have to, people don't always, have verbal compliance. That's what we want, verbal compliance, but, sometimes it doesn't happen. So we have to, restrain people. Um, so, this a lot of legislation that would pass, ties the officers' hands in doing things as far as like, affecting an arrest, and we have to like put, restrain because, we don't want, to get hurt, let alone we don't want to get hurt, we don't want anybody else to get hurt. But at the same time, we don't want to be arrested for doing our job, while protecting, the community as well.
I want to thank you for addressing that challenging question. I feel that you've done an awesome job in explaining from a sincere perspective, and I know that you care not only for your family members, and your community. I want to salute you for serving 15 years in our community, protecting and serving us. We hear bad things, but also there are a lot of positive things, and I
Yeah,
want to
absolutely.
highlight your character, your development, and your perseverance throughout the years. I want to say that from walking, like you said, in plain clothes, a uniform officer on the street, to moving up and progressing in your career, you have demonstrated excellence to us. And I want to thank you personally, taking the time
Thank
too
you.
to share with us today.
Yeah,
And
thank you. I appreciate it. These are only my thoughts. I don't represent the NYPD, but like you said, conversation. Which is the great platform. To have a conversation.
and that's what it's about. We want to strengthen relationships, and once we get to know each other, we can work better together. Certainly, if you don't mind, just share a little about how people get in contact with the NYPD, if they would like
Yeah,
to gain information, or what unit they should contact if they want to help strengthen relationships in their vicinity.
yeah. You can go to nypd.org. You can go follow the NYPD on Instagram. They have the NYPD on Twitter. You go to nypd.com. You can leave comments. You can see what the NYPD is doing. We have different training videos. Um, you know, community policing videos, different things. So please, I encourage your viewers to actually check out the websites and continue to have the conversation with law enforcement. Like I know with the climate, if we can, if we can have the community, just say hello to an officer, just say hi, that would, that means the world, to us, especially right now. Just hello, how are you? So,
Excellent,
but
excellent.
I
Thank
appreciate the
you so
platform.
much. Thank you, Detective William Smiley. Superb job, fantastic, and I admire you in many ways. And you said a lot of powerful things, but you're right. The connection begins in the communication. The connection
Yeah.
begins in the communication, and I really appreciate it. And I really grabbed that on today, and it was beneficial and a blessing to me. Take care, keep up the good work, and
All
we'll be
right.
talking with you soon.
All right. Thanks. I appreciate it.
Stay tuned, everyone. Stay tuned.
Calendar is now open for virtual ministry. I am available to be a Sunday morning online guest speaker, a midweek Bible study guest speaker, via online. I am providing virtual training for men ministries, leadership, and community event. If you're looking for an online presenter, I am available to do classes, webinars, interviews. You can access me through Facebook, Instagram, Zoom, YouTube, and different websites. Connect with me, Jarrett Lewis, on Instagram and Facebook. Also view our live streaming and a video on demand on jarrettlewis.com. Hi, my name is Jarrett Lewis, and I'm excited about my new book, It Starts by Serving. Serving is the foundation of any ministry of excellence. Serving gives you a deeper understanding, but also allows you to embrace your uniqueness. In this book, I will help you to learn not only why, but how people become effective in ministry. I hope you buy a copy for yourself and a friend. Welcome to our Focus 40. Today's principle is time management. What does it take for you to manage your time better? Where are you wasting time? Procrastination is the thief of time and success. Notice, Jesus accomplished all he needed to accomplish in the time that he was here on earth. We have been given enough time, we just have to learn to manage it better. Take a moment and write down time wasters that you can remove. Consider Jarrett Lewis as a speaker for your next event. Buy the new book, It Starts by Serving, or find out about our strategic personal coaching sessions. I pray that you were blessed by this broadcast on today. Consider making a financial contribution or donation to our TV program. Perhaps you can give $20 or $50 or even $100. We are empowering lives with the gospel of Jesus Christ. There are two ways you can make a financial contribution: by Cash App or mailing in your offering. For Cash App, $JERITT LEWIS. It's $JERITT LEWIS. Or you can mail in your donation to 831 Sycamore Avenue in Bohemia, New York, 11716. Once again, there are two ways to give. You can give by Cash App or by mailing in your donation. For Cash App, it's $JERITT LEWIS. Or mailing your donation to 831 Sycamore Avenue in Bohemia, New York, 11716. Thank you, and may God richly bless you.
Hey, come on, saints. Well, come on, saints. Hey, come on.
The corner of New Avenue and Mount Avenue.
Join us every Sunday at 10 a.m. starting in the month of August.
Please remain 6 feet apart. Please wear your face mask. Please remain in your vehicle. We are asking if you are sick or feeling sick, please stay home. All services will be streaming live. Watch our live stream.
Come on, everybody, put your hands together here. Put your hands together.
WOPKojic.com. WOPKojic.com. Come on, saints, let's have church.
One more time. Let the Holy Ghost move.
Thank you for joining us on today. It has been a remarkable, informative, and enlightening session with Detective William Smiley. I want you to take the time to write down a question or thought that you may have and you would like to inquire more about, where you can find more information or reach out to a fellow police officer. Please feel free to submit it to our contact information, and we'll refer it on and definitely disseminate it to Detective William Smiley if you have any further questions. Also, I want to thank you for taking the opportunity to share this information. Certainly, we are living in a turbulent time, and we know both people on both sides of the fence who are clergymen, who are pastors, and also people who are parishioners who deal with the police department in challenging areas. So we're praying for everyone. I believe today was a great opportunity for us to come together and to learn more. I want to say, as we close, I want you to pray that God will bless our country, bless our land, and bless our police officers. Thank you for sharing on today. May God bless you. And remember, strategize with the power of God.